if you ever cock this up, you never do it again. And the way we work this call, as you might imagine, is recorded, and I record it twice because every now and again it goes wrong. And if you've got two bits of software doing the same thing, that generally helps rather than having one.
Okay.
So I'm just firing up that second bit of software now, and this becomes the start of our interview. So let's, in terms of the summary section is where we're going to start with. So it is really about what makes you tick, what interests you about your role, and being a financial advisor. What does it mean to you?
The ability to help people. I think that's primarily where I've come from. I believe it or not, I enjoy talking to people, and I do enjoy trying to help people, I guess. I think that's fundamentally the basis of it.
And what do they, if we were to look at that from the point of view, is there a standout thing that people come to you, like a real, what's the most common problem that people have that you're addressing?
How do I make more money?
So that's what they want to know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Why am I invested in this? Why am I not rich?
Okay.
That's a starting point.
So is there a common thread then as to why they're not making money and why they're not rich?
Normally it's uneducated. Not to say people are uneducated, but they don't know what they do know, what they don't know.
Yeah. So they don't know what they don't know, do they? I mean, that's
exactly.
it. Yeah.
I see my role. I see the role of any decent financial advisor as really just being a hand to hold.
Yeah.
So we give people the knowledge and the tools to make an informed decision. We're not here to push, cajole, force, sell someone to do anything. We're here to say, you're here, that's fine, but what you want to do is be here, and this is why.
Mm-hmm.
And by changing and following what I'm recommending, you'll be able to achieve what your objectives are.
Okay. So in working on the basis that you're on the whole dealing with a lack of knowledge, so if that's like the challenge that you have to come is there's clearly a job here in terms of what you do. I'm assuming you tell me is communicating and educating people.
Yeah, I think that's primarily the way that the best advisor which I've ever worked with taught me. He guided me and said that the best way to get someone on board is to make them think that they thought of it.
Yeah.
So you give someone all of the ideas, you give them all of the pros and the cons, and when that person says, you know what, that's a great idea, I'm going to do that, that's when you nailed it. So you don't have to tell them.
Yeah,
they say it.
I love that. And that's like allowing them to make enabling or allowing them to make a decision that is the right decision. And the thing is, like, again, we all have these mentors. And as somebody once said to me, it's far better for somebody to feel that they're buying into something rather than for you to sell it.
That's exactly the terminology that they used. So if someone feels as if they've made the decision through empowerment, then they're more likely to stay. And within our business, within financial services, part of the regulatory requirement or checking is how many people fall off and cancel their policies within 3, 6, 12 months, because that's an indication that they were pushed into doing something and they weren't entirely comfortable with doing it. Whereas if they brought into it and said, you know what, I want to do this, then they're not going to, unless something major happens, they're not going to cancel. They're going to stay with it and they're going to keep going because they've made that decision.
All right. So in a very light way there, what we've actually done is we've looked at what the challenge is, which is lack of education. We've looked at the way you handle that by educating and encouraging them to make a great decision. There must have been occasions, standout moments in your career when you've seen a really good result from that, when people have really done well out of that process, given time. And just give me a little bit of what that looks like to you. I mean, I'm sure that people have commented or called you about good things happening.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's probably not one which can, but actually could do, I suppose. When I first started, I was when most of us start, you're given the dross. Really,
Yeah.
No other way of putting it, because the senior advisors take the nice clients, the ones
Easy, make the most money and no work involved in them. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you are a senior financial advisor now, aren't you, Nigel? Is that what you?
Sorry?
You are one of them now, aren't you? Is that what you are?
I am.
Okay.
But
well
I'm ethical, so I would never do this for anybody else.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard it is. But my best, I suppose, best example, best solution is I was given through a link. Sorry, not LinkedIn. It was through IFA Direct, which is a searching tool for people who are trying to find a local financial advisor. And this little old lady came through to us. She didn't have a penny to rub together. Lived in a mobile home in Weybridge. And had a sum total of about £20,000, which most advisors would just go, look, go to your bank. You're not even worth talking to.
Yeah.
But she was in such a mess. Her husband had recently died, and she knew, someone knew her through a friend of a friend of a friend, and said, look, can you just sit down and go through probate with her and help her? So so I went through everything with her, and turned out we did a little bit of business, tiny little ISA, a little bit of an annuity. It brought a pension for her, but sum total was we were definitely in negative figures. But I also did a lot of state benefits for her. I ran through what she could claim for and the rest of it, and she had a disability. So we went through all that, and I spoke to her solicitor about her probate and dealt with her children. Sum total of it was my boss at the time said that it's a great learning curve. You're learning all of these different skills. You're looking at state benefits. We're not getting anything from it, but you're getting the experience. You're knowing what to look for. Long story short, ended up finishing everything off within about 3 weeks. One of her children came up to us and booked £250,000 with us because he said, "You've done such a great job for my mum, and you didn't charge her the earth. We can see you've got ethics. So I'm moving all my portfolio to you."
Isn't that such a great result?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just wonderful.
You could never have known this. This little old lady, as they lived in a mobile home, and you could never have thought that her children actually had some money. It was so out of the blue, but yeah.
And she was as well looked after as she could be, really. So all what you've done is you've done what very few others would do. You've been diligent and you've been helpful, and as a result of your efforts for really no money, good things. I love stories. I mean, that's just a magnificent story, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how we can get it in, but I think we should probably bloody try with that, because I think that's just magnificent. But that's, there is, in a little bit more general terms, if people do get themselves straightened out, I suppose they, at the very least, feel better about themselves, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge worry. Money is so emotive, and it is such a problem. Because people don't understand it, or they worry so much, they sweep it under the carpet. They try to put it on the back burner. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. That's the biggest obstacle to financial advice is because people don't really understand it. They're very nervous about talking to someone about it. They're very cagey, and they feel as if they don't do anything, it'll get better somehow. So inertia is God.
I'll probably have quite a chat with you another time about that, but I know exactly where you are. So, and I know that fear. I understand that fear. So my imagination is that some of the reflection on that when people come out of it, and it's again when you don't know what you don't know, and it seems like this immovable object in front of you. When people get a clear vision, that's got to be a great result for them, hasn't it? They got to, and obviously then there's the financial security that comes from knowing that they are sorted out.
Exactly. So our role is really to, as I say, educate and to help and guide, really.
So I think that's sort of what we just said there links to the first part of this, of what the challenge, what the problem is, because inertia, fear of the unknown, fear of, oh God, I'm shoving it under the carpet is part of the problem, and the positive outcome of this for the clients is to take away that fear and feel that they've done something and actually know that they are going to be okay.
Absolutely.
Lovely. I love these conversations. Sometimes you get some. Can you see how, if with just the 15-20 minutes we've taken there, that to become a chartered fellow, we're going to say something here a little bit more substantive within the summary about you. So I think it's going to bring out, the caring side of you, even from what you said. Our challenge, or my challenge, Nigel, is to interpret what you say in a way that you recognise and feel really comfortable with. Sometimes you get a bit of a warm feeling when you're doing these things. Actually, funny enough, a guy who I thought was going to be easy yesterday is probably more challenging, and James is just this bloke, isn't he? How we translate James into print is an interesting prospect for me. But
good luck with that one.
Well, exactly. We'll see how we go, and I'll keep you informed. But there we go. So look, that's lovely. I'm sort of there is. I just want a few literally bullet points on some other things. Then, if you had some of your core strengths, skills, values, what would you say they were? Just a list.
I like to think that I can listen very well. I think that is a massive. That's a key skill to the role. Is the ability to listen and the ability to empathise. That's another massive one. The ability to try and be as approachable as possible at very short notice. So being able to build a rapport with someone and being able to empathise is key to the role. So I like to think. I mean, primarily I get that rather than waffle. I think that I can listen very well. And I can put myself in someone else's shoes easily.
Which is, I can see how that would be important. And from the outside, people every now and again tell you in a nice way what they think about you. I mean, sort of the strengths and positive attitude. Yeah, well, look, I mean, I'm sure others, see strengths in your character, and whether it's your mentors or your previous bosses or things would say, look, Nigel, you're good at this. Is there anything additional to what you just said that others have come out with? It's sort of, I call that a bit of social proof, because it's not you saying it, it's someone else, sort of.
Probably diligent, very diligent, and technically minded in terms of the rules and what you can do, what you can't do, taxation, all stuff like that. I guess that I'm reasonably good at that.
A phrase that's sitting in my mind that might encompass that would be, in overall, this is important to have an attention to detail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably a little bit too much sometimes, but
okay. All right. And look, I ask these questions because we might use phrases that try to encompass